Hey guys, welcome to What Was Mommy Thinking? My name's Crystal. If you're new here, I'm a full-time working mom in the state of Texas where I live with my husband and my 3 incredible boys. Today, I'm getting back to things that matter to me and my family. This is my weekly Set Yourself Up for Success video where I show you the meal prep and things that I do on Saturday and the cleaning that I do on Sunday to get us all the way through the week. And my dog just made her grand entrance through the pet door. This is real life, you guys. If you're interested in seeing how we get things done on the weekend so that we have less stress and more success during the week, stick around. Glad you're here.
Here's what I like. Laying on the beach with sunlight in my eyes, laughing with my friends under the sky, following our hearts so then we take a ride. Wherever, I always try to let my spirit fly away.
Alright everybody, we are trying to get back to what we know how to do. And one of the things that we know how to do on this channel is to meal prep and set ourselves up for success during the week. So, what I'm going to make today with you guys is some burger bowls. And in order to do that, I need to make my own Thousand Island dressing. So, I got a recipe off of the internet and adjusted it to make it fit. So what this comes out to be is 3 Weight Watchers points per servings. This bowl is going to make 4 servings. I am on the Weight Watchers green plan. So into our Thousand Island dressing goes 1/2 of a cup of light mayonnaise. I'm just using the Hellmann's light mayonnaise that you see sitting back there. I just sort of left that stuff sitting out so you guys would know what I was using. Then I've got some Heinz no sugar added tomato ketchup. This is 2 tablespoons or 1/8 of a cup, whichever you prefer, and let's make a mess. And then I have 2 tablespoons, or I'm sorry, is that 1 tablespoon? I'll have to look again. 1 or 2 tablespoons of this Kroger brand sweet relish. It's 1 tablespoon. 1 tablespoon of vinegar, yum. 2 teaspoons of, if you've got monk fruit, stevia, whatever sweetener you want to use. And then I've got 1/2 of a teaspoon of pepper and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And we're just going to mix all of this up. And that is it. That is our dressing for the burger bowls. And let me tell you a little bit about what's going into the burger bowls while I get this mixed up. Doesn't look very good so far, but it'll get there. Alright, so in our burger bowls, it couldn't be any simpler. Back a while ago, I browned a bunch of ground beef. If you haven't seen how I purchased the 90% lean ground beef from Sam's Club in a big long tube of it, I portion it out. This is 2 pounds of browned ground beef without onions in it, and then you can freeze it. So you can use it for tacos or soups or spaghettis, or today you're going to see me use it in these burger bowls. You're also going to see me use some of it to make egg roll bowls for lunch prep for the week, and then some of it will be for taco night on Tuesday night for the family. And then some of it is going to go into some meat sauce to do lunch prep, some low sodium meat sauce for the kiddos for lunch prep for the week because they've really been enjoying that. So this is that homemade Thousand Island dressing. It is supposed to make 4 servings, which looks like it might be quite a bit actually. So I'm going to grab an empty one of these containers and weigh it, so that I can then set this one on there. If I had thought about it, I would have mixed this on the scale, but I didn't. So I'm going to go grab one of these so I'll know how much 1/4 of this is. I'll be right back. Alright, so here's an empty one. We're going to take it, we're going to keep it in grams. And now that it's at 0 with the bowl on, we take the bowl off. This bowl weighs 349 grams. Goodness gracious. Alright. So now I'm going to set this on there. This comes out to 225 grams. So if I divide that by 4, it ends up being around 56 grams of dressing per serving. So I'm going to take this off, set my little dressing container on there, bring it back, and then see how much 56 grams is going to be. Hopefully not more than this little container holds, or I'm in trouble. So again, the burger bowls have, I cheated and bought shredded lettuce, and it'll have 2 1/3 ounces of the ground beef. It's going to get 7 slices of dill pickles. It's going to get 1/8 of a cup, or a couple of tablespoons basically, of the Velveeta shreds. Good morning. My middle son's coming around. All right, we're gonna be right at the top of this container, I believe. 53. 56, perfect. So 56 comes out, and these are little Tupperware containers I've had forever. Comes out to 2 ounces basically. So I'm gonna get the rest of these filled, and then we'll assemble these bowls. So I just got all the way through all of that and realized that I forgot to put the minced onion in the dressing. So guess what? Instead of putting the minced onion in the dressing, we're gonna put it in the salad. That's just how it's gonna be for today. You should try that spatula and let me know what you think. This is the first time I've ever made this dressing, so my husband has to be the guinea pig. Good? Awesome. He says it's good. And yes, I know I should try it myself, but, well, now I will. Oh, wow. Yes, very good. All right, 10 out of 10 recommend. If I could just get the lids on these, we would be in business. Ugh, there we go. All right, so now what I have to do is A, figure out what container I'm going to put the onion in to put in the salad, or whether or not I'm just going to put it in a little piece of saran wrap or something in there. And we're gonna assemble our salads. Ugh. Should not be this hard to get a lid on a dressing container. Come on. Sweet Moses in the morning. Quit being a Monday on a Saturday. There we go. All right. So each of these containers is going to get a lot of lettuce, and we're going to put one of these little things in here to hold our pickles and our, I'm sorry, this one will hold pickles. We're gonna fill this with lettuce pretty high, because when we take these out, the lettuce will settle down. This one's gonna hold the ground beef. This one's gonna hold the pickles. I will figure out the dressing, or I may just set it on top of it. But for right now, we're gonna get this loaded up. Remember, I said that you're going to use 2 1/3 ounces of the ground beef. So we can go ahead and weigh that out. Open up our ground beef. And we definitely want to make this ounces. And then I'm going to grab a little spoon. And we're going to see what we can do here. I gotta crumble that up. All right, we are 1 1/2. 2 1. No, now it says 1 7/8. 1 7/8. 2 1/4. Let's see if we can get it to 2 1/3. Goodness gracious. We may just have to go with 2 1/4 because it's staying put. 2 1/4 it is. Okay, so we're gonna put that there and do the rest of these. We need 4 of those total. hang on. I gotta do that again because that got a little wonky. That says 2 ounces because it didn't tear. Okay. Well, you know what, guys? We're gonna roll with it. We're gonna say that this little cup full, that's 2 1/4. That's the ground beef that'll get sprinkled onto the salad. Make sure that goes to 0. Awesome. Now let's fill it. The 90% lean ground beef for 2 1/3 ounces is 3 points. The pickles are going to be 0 points. And for 7 slices. The dressing is 3 points per serving, which is not bad considering that it's a mayonnaise based dressing instead of a vinaigrette type dressing. 2 1/8. Come on now, work with me here. All right, we're gonna take it. 2 1/4. I'm kind of gonna crumble that around a little bit and just stick it in there. All right, and the cheese, the Velveeta shreds that we're going to use are 1 point on the green plan. And the onions, of course, are nothing. So it's supposed to be, they call them burger bowls, but I think that like some people call these the Big Mac salads and stuff like that. I've seen Marlene over on Snow Gardener 307 make her Big Mac salads, and I've been craving them ever since. So this was a close rendition that was a Weight Watchers friendly recipe. I get 34 or 35 points a day, so I try not to go over 7 or 8 points for lunch. And because I am making these salads, when I make my protein boxes this week, I'm going to leave my turkey pepperoni out and save those points. My goodness, this is a lot of meat. All right, 2 ounces, 2 1/8. Oh, we're going to roll with it. All right, so here's what I'm going to do because this is taking longer than I had planned. I'm going to fast forward you guys through me getting a couple of these done, and then I will do one complete assembly with you guys here in a minute. Let's get this started. So here's what I decided to do. I'm going to take little pieces of saran wrap. I'm going to scoop up some onion into these little pieces and kind of twist tie them shut and just throw them in there with the pickles, and then I'm going to do the same with the cheese. So the salad itself called for some of this minced onion to be mixed in with the dressing, and I did not remember to do that. So the dressing still tasted pretty good. We're going to roll with it. Because A, we don't have a frame of reference, never made this before, don't know whether it's going to be a big deal or not. So all I'm going to do is throw some onion in here, bring the edges together, and sort of twist it and stick it right in there. And I know what that looks like, y'all. Believe me, I know. But that's what we're doing. No, I don't have any prior experience, and yeah, we're gonna roll with it. Okay, get that little piece of skin out of there. Another little piece of skin. And I mean, it's really not a big deal. The pickle juice and the onions would be fine if they, you know, they went together. It would be just like it was in the dressing anyway. So now what I have to do is weigh out the cheese and wrap it up, and I'm just going to put it on top. We're going to put a lid on it and put the dressing on the side. I'm going to use this leftover shredded lettuce for taco night. We are going to do 1/8 of a cup, so we're going to do about 14 grams of this. Keep it on grams. we'll do about 14 grams, and that should be plenty because we've got sweet and savory both in the dressing, the meat. We've got some sour in the pickles, so I think we'll be fine. So we're going to go up to 14 grams of cheese. That's 13. That's 14. Okay, so all I'm going to do is bring this together and try and throw it everywhere, of course. Why wouldn't I? And I'm just going to lay it on the lettuce, and, you know, why not? We'll just tinkle, tinkle. Okay. So I'm going to do that 3 more times and get the rest of these put together. And this will be 4 lunches, 2 for me, 2 for my husband for the week. And then we'll move on to the next thing. Catch you guys up to speed. I put the rest of that ground beef in here, which was about 1.5 pounds. That container that you saw was holding 2 pounds of ground beef. We used about 8 and well, really almost 9 ounces of it in those burger bowls. So I will do the math as far as cooked ground beef and how many ounces that ends up being to adjust points. But the recipe that we're doubling would call for 2 full pounds. We don't have that. We have about 1.5 or whatever in here. I've got that going with 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. A single batch only calls for 1 tablespoon of each. Then we're going to put garlic, reduced sodium soy sauce, and ground ginger in it. And in the microwave, this is where I vary from other recipes. I took this recipe and adjusted it to our own. In the microwave are 2 bags of Asian stir-fry veggies, the steamable bags that has like snow peas and water chestnuts and carrots and broccoli in it. And I use that in place of the shredded carrots that it calls for in this recipe because we like the flavor of the veggies. So I'll add a little bit extra seasoning and my coleslaw when it's time, and I will just speed you guys up through that, and I will try my best to remember to link the recipe in the description box below. If I don't, somebody please remind me in the comments and I'll take care of it. Is just waiting for this to cook down a little bit, for that cabbage to wilt down some more. Because the veggies are the microwave kind and they're already in the microwave, they're going to be completely cooked when they come out, and all we'll have to do is add them in. So that being said, if you're not into meat, or if you like a different kind of meat, you could use sausage in this, you could use ground turkey in this, ground chicken, or you could just do it as a vegetarian and put in extra veggies. It's very versatile, it's very filling, it is very cheap to make, goes a long way, and you can make it friendly if you're on like a weight loss plan or a weight loss journey. What it isn't is low sodium. So my oldest son, who doesn't like it anyway, can't have it, so it's not a big deal for us to have it sitting in the fridge. He doesn't feel like he's missing out on anything. But my other 2 boys do like it. So that's why there's a double batch here, so that they can have it for lunches during the week as well. So as soon as those veggies come out, this should be ready. I'm going to get some of this mess cleaned up in the sink, and then we'll get those veggies in, and that'll be it. We'll get it in containers for the refrigerator. thing on the list is our version of overnight oatmeal. In my pot that I just washed out, it's actually still warm, I've got 5 cups of just water. If you are not on a sodium restriction, you can add a little bit of salt to this. I'm going to turn the heat on back here and put the lid on so it heats up faster. As soon as this comes to a rolling boil, we're going to add 1 cup of the steel cut oats. I buy these in bulk from a grocery store here called Sprouts. I'm not sure where they are. I know they are in different states, but I buy these in bulk from Sprouts. 1 cup per 5 cups of water. You let it boil rapidly for 4 minutes, and as soon as that's done, you stir it, put the lid on it, and scoot it to the back and let it sit for 6 to 8 hours, and then divvy it into your individual jars. This lets us do oatmeal the way that we like it. My husband likes peanut butter in his. My kids sometimes like fruit in theirs. Sometimes they do the maple syrup and cinnamon like I do. Sometimes I just put a banana in mine. So it just depends, and this keeps it in the fridge and cold, and that way once we reheat it in the microwave, then we can doctor it up and put what we want in it and have a different variety. Excuse the plane in the background. So we're gonna let this get going. We'll put a cup of these in, and I'll see you back here. While we're waiting on the water to boil, I'm going to go ahead and get started boiling our eggs for the week. So I can get these open. Alright, this is a dash. Mine is a 2-tier. You can buy them in the 1-tier. I think the 1-tier, if I remember correctly, does 7 eggs. I have the 2-tier. I've had this for a really long time. I think I paid $24.99 for it, maybe. Anyways, mine does a dozen eggs at a time. You just put this on. Then it's got a second story. And grab 4 more eggs. Alright, I can put those in my egg holder in the fridge. Pour the water down over the middle. Put the lid on, and in 7 minutes, we will have a dozen boiled eggs. Everybody, the timer just went off. It's been 4 minutes. We'll just turn the eye off, give it a really good stir, make sure nothing's stuck anywhere, get it nice and incorporated. Then all I have to do is put the lid on it and move it to the back. And that's it. It'll sit there till right before bed tonight. I'll put it in mason jars and get it in the fridge, and it'll be good to go. So while I'm waiting on my eggs to get finished, I checked my planner really quick, and tomorrow we're going to be having Mississippi pot roast in the slow cooker. I actually need to make 2 slow cookers worth so that there is leftovers. So we went out to the freezer, pulled out 2 bags, which is 4 total pot roasts. I know that that's crazy, but trust me, that's what it takes. So we've got 4 pot roasts. There will be 2 in each slow cooker, and then some of these twice baked, loaded, stuffed type of twice baked potatoes. If you guys didn't see me make these in one of my weekly prep and set yourself up for success videos, I will try and link that here. These are incredible. So the boys are going to have these with their pot roast, and then we'll have a veggie and some dinner rolls.
I'm your armor when things get tough. No, I got your back. Your battles are mine too. I'll fight for you when things get hard. Lay it all on me when you're not strong enough to carry
Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is a one of the many versions of homemade meat sauce that you can make. I will tell you, this freezes beautifully, and you can put it in those cylinder containers, which is what I do. I stick them in the freezer, and when I want to reuse it, I just dump the cylinder containers upside down in my slow cooker with the lid on for a few minutes till I can pull the containers off. 3 of them fit in here and make enough marinara for dinner for everybody. So we're going to get everything thrown in here, and I'm kind of going to walk you guys through it, or talk you guys through it as we go. Lots and lots of goodness in here. So I'm going to start with some of the liquid. It gets 1 large can of tomato puree, and again, whatever brand that you prefer, whatever your family likes is absolutely fine. I buy, you're going to see a ton of like no salt added items because of my son's dietary restrictions, so that's what we use. I should have brought the garbage can closer, but I didn't. Alright, so when you're pouring tomatoes, if you don't have experience doing that, kind of get the lid or the mouth of the can as far down into the container that you're pouring into as possible, because it loves to splatter and stain whatever it is you're wearing. Even if what you're wearing is old clothes, it'll still get ya. And some of these have like SeaWorld type splash zone capacity. I don't know. See, look. Splatter. Don't know how that got over there. Alright, so 1 can, large can, so that's your 29-ounce cans of tomato puree. Then we're going to put 2 cans of that same size, the 29 ounces of crushed tomatoes. And mine are the no salt added, as you can see, but again, use what you and your family like. If you've got this kind of stuff sitting in your pantry, you could have this recipe, like half it. If your family is smaller than mine, or if you don't want to freeze some of it, you could just buy a regular size can. Instead of the 29 ounce, you could get the 14.5 ounce can of puree and just 1 can of crush. That would save you a little bit of money as well. Canned tomatoes aren't too terribly expensive though. So we're going to throw this one in. The recipe calls for 3 pounds of ground beef. Now, if you do not eat meat, you could use the beef crumbles that are vegetarian, or you could just do a vegetarian marinara, just a plain sauce with no meat in it at all. It would turn out just as delicious with all the same flavor, minus the meat. So let's get this last big mamma jamma in here. Now I will tell you that this slow cooker is going to be on the brink of like explosion, and I may have to stir it with the audio not on, because I tend to have a bit of a foul mouth when it comes to making a mess and spilling things everywhere, which is exactly what happens with this sauce. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle in a couple tablespoons of sugar. That helps bite down some of the acidity. And the next thing that I'm going to put in is the ground beef. And again, this is another container of ground beef that was browned. This one is 3 pounds, so the larger containers that I have are 3 pounds, and then those smaller ones like you saw earlier are 2. And I'm trying not to make too much of a mess here, but it is really crammed in there. And we'll get all of this, all the kids in the pool, everybody in. Don't be stubborn. Don't be stubborn. Oh, the dog's gonna love that. There we go. You can fight me, but I will win. All right, so I'm gonna grab my mix and chop in a second, and I'll chop all of that up. I'm gonna set this aside. Next, we're gonna put in 3 of the 6-ounce cans of tomato paste. I've got this awesome little scraper for this size of jars. It does a beautiful job. And then all that's left is adding in all of our seasonings. So on the menu for seasonings are oregano, basil, parsley, crushed pepper, red crushed pepper flakes, bay leaves, thyme, pepper. You can add salt if you want. We do not. So I'm just gonna get all the goodness in here. Now, because it is a little later in the afternoon and this is supposed to cook for 6 to 8 hours, I am going to turn it on high for an hour or two, and then I will turn it down to low, and it will cook until probably 9 or 10 o'clock tonight right before bed, and I'll put it in individual containers for the freezer. But I had all this ground beef that I browned, and I wanted to use because I have more out there, and we are trying to use what we have. And we had spaghetti for dinner one evening this week, and the leftovers went super, super quick, and actually had some negotiation going on between two of my children over how can I get your bowl of leftovers. Turned out quite well for one of them. And I'm all about teaching those kind of life skills to my children. It's fantastic. So it was the last of my frozen marinara sauce. So I want to make this. I'll make some lunch prep for my boys. I'll just boil a couple of boxes of spaghetti and make some spaghetti bowls that they can heat up for lunch during the week. And the rest of it I will put into those cylinder containers and get in the freezer for a future meal. And again, I didn't have to go out and buy anything to make this. We already had everything here, and we are trying to use up what we have. That's part of the reason we're having pot roast tomorrow night, because we had those pot roasts in the freezer and they're not doing anybody any good in the freezer. Time to eat them up. Alright, that is it for the tomato products. Now it's time to do all of the seasonings. But first, I'm going to pause you guys, wipe my hands off, throw this trash away, and get my mix and chop. Alright, I knew I was forgetting something, so let me get this meat chopped up. I forgot my onions, I forgot my garlic, and I don't know how I did that. I know better than that. I'm so sorry, Mom. So sorry, don't disown me. So here I have 3 diced onions, whole onions. We'll get all of the kids in the pool. And then I need to add in a whole lot of garlic, what will look like a whole lot of garlic. It's really not. So I'm going to grab a measuring spoon. I don't see one big enough. Aha. So this is a tablespoon. We're going to add in about probably 3 or 4 tablespoons of crushed garlic. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, and almost 4. Okay. There we go. Alright, let me mix this up just a little bit. Coco, you need to get out. There we go. Coco just hit it. Sorry guys, that was my German Shepherd and she's not behaving. Okay. She smells food. I'm just trying to break up that ground beef because it was so cold. And get it mixed through. That looks pretty good. And now we're going to add all of our spices and give it another really good mix. The thing about tomato paste is it makes everything stick. If you guys have a mix and chop, first of all, they are amazing. Second of all, if you'll clean off the blades of them before you put them in the dishwasher, it goes much, much better. I just use a spatula and go through and scrape them clean. It takes like 30 seconds and it's no big deal. Alright, I'm going to set that aside. We're going to start with oregano, and oregano gets 1/4 of a cup. Okay, then we're going to do 4, whoops, let me throw things around. Then we're going to do 4 bay leaves. Those are kind of puny, so we're going to do 5. Then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of basil, which is 1/8 of a cup, so I'm just going to do about 1/2 of a quarter, just like that. And then we're going to add in the sprinkle of parsley flakes, and it's 1 to 2 tablespoons. So I'm just going to put in some. And then we're going to add in just a touch of crushed black pepper. You do it to your family's liking. I just do a little pinch for just a little bit of heat. My youngest doesn't really care for it super hot. And then we're going to do a teaspoon of thyme. Well, 1.5 teaspoons really. So that's about a half. And that's about a whole. So we're gonna let that roll just like that. And that is it for all of the spices. So now we're just gonna give it a really good stir, try and incorporate. And here's the thing about the sauce. It doesn't have to be completely well combined, because as it cooks, you can open the lid and stir it. I'm gonna stir mine really good because I'm gonna try not to open it because, again, I'm short on time and I really need it to stay hot and do its cooking so that I'm not up until midnight waiting on it to finish and get it into containers. So I could have run it overnight, but we need both the crock pots for tomorrow's dinner because we're going to be doing dueling crock pots of Mississippi pot roast. And so that is it for this. I'm going to get the lid on and throw it on high. Get it on high for 1 hour, and then I'll turn it down to low and let it cook for the rest of the time. Alright, next up is something that if you've watched my meal prep videos before, you've seen both of these dishes. This is going to be for chicken fajita bowls. That's going to be next. But first I'm going to saute up some diced peppers, onions, and mushrooms to make egg frittatas. So I've just got a little bit of avocado oil. Put a tiny bit of that in this pan, maybe a tablespoon or so. And get these sauteed up. I only have 12 minutes until my bread is ready to come out and get rolled and put into the pan. So I'm going to clean up a workspace for that and get these veggies sauteing super quick.
You should know I got you.
So the timer's about to go off. Perfect. That means our dough is done. Would you look at that? So we're going to take this off and give it a punch. Literally my favorite part. I don't know why. It just is. I floured my surface. We're just going to turn the dough out. Maybe onto that surface. There we go. And we're going to gently work it. Well, not so gently. We're going to work it and try not to pick up pieces of vegetable. You don't have to work it too terribly much. You just want to get it into an even loaf about the length of your pan. I did go ahead and pre-grease my pan. With the USA pans, you don't have to. It's not a requirement that you grease them. It's just habit for me, so I do. And when I get to the bottom of it, I try and pinch the seams together and kind of tuck them around a little bit. And then make sure that it's kind of even all the way through so that I don't have more dough at one end than the other. And then into the pan, the sodium-free bread goes. Use a clean dish towel and cover it up, and then I'm going to set it on my stove top, or I can put it back in the microwave to rise there. So it's got to rise now for another 45 minutes to an hour until it's doubled in size. So I'm going to get this cleaned up, and then we're going to make those egg frittatas. Alright, so this is my pan for the egg frittatas. If you have watched any of my previous videos, this is a staple for us. I didn't make them last week, but we do pretty much make them every week or every other week. I did break down and buy a silicone pan a while back because it's just so much easier to get them out and get them stored. I'm going to probably speed you guys through me making them because I already have so many videos where they're made. In the bottom goes 2 tablespoons of your favorite hash brown potatoes, whichever kind that you like. I've just got these left, so I'm going to go ahead and use those. Then you scoop in some of your sauteed veggies over here. I've got peppers, onions, and mushrooms in here that I used some everything but the bagel seasoning that I am now out of. And then on top of that, you will see me into each of these bowls put 2 teaspoons of cottage cheese and 1 egg, and I will whip that together and pour it over top of all of that mixture. And then these will go into a 375-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes. So I'm gonna turn the audio off, play some music for you guys, and get these going.
Crazy place sometimes. Know that I am here beside you. We can leave tonight, leave it all behind. If the end is near, just know that I got you. I'm your armor when things get tough. No, I got you back. Your battles are mine too. I'll fight for you when things get hard. Lay it all on me when you're not strong enough to carry on. Baby, you should know I got you. Baby, you should know I got you. You should know. Baby, you should know I got you. Baby, you should know I got you. Baby.
Alright, so I've got a bit of a mess to clean up here, but the important thing is these are ready to go in the oven. So we're going to pop those in to a 375-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes, which is perfect because we have 44 minutes left on our bread to rise. So we have plenty of time to get this cleaned up, start on our chicken fajitas, and be ready to get the bread in the oven. The only thing I have to do for the bread is melt a little bit of butter over there to brush on the top, and we will be good to go. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is I've got my pan all wiped out. I'm going to grab this avocado oil, and we're going to saute up the veggies for our sheet pan, sheet pan. I don't know what I'm thinking now. For our chicken fajita bowls. So I've got onions, peppers, and mushrooms. I'm just going to use this same skillet because I already used it to saute up those other veggies. I wiped it out after I was done. So I may not be able to do all the veggies at once, but again, I'm just trying to keep doing different things while I'm waiting on the bread to be ready to go into the oven. So I'm going to saute as many of these as I can. I'll get them in this dish. Then I'm going to get that bread in the oven, and then I'm going to cut up the chicken and get it ready to saute as well. And we'll just keep going along.
You should know I got you. Baby, you should know I got you. Got you. Baby, you should know I got you. You know it's way too late. Regretting our mistakes. It got so head over heels crazy. Need to apologize. We went too far this time. Come a little closer. There's something I have to say. I love you and I hate you and I hope you feel the same. Come a little closer, baby. Please don't walk away. I love you and yeah. You got nothing to prove, oh baby. I know you're the right.
This is the last of the veggies to saute and get into this pan. Then I'm gonna clean up this area and get my frittatas out. They are almost done. They probably got like 2 more minutes on them, maybe about 2. So I'm gonna get a little cooling rack and stick it over here to put the frittatas on. I hate that when the mushrooms cook down they make so much liquid. Let's see if I've got something. Yeah, I've got a slotted spoon here. Maybe I can get them out with that. Put this one in the sink. Because man, they sure do. And so the sauce that I cook this in, if you haven't seen before, is just the Frontera fajita skillet stuff. And the sauce is enough liquid and it has plenty of flavor in it. So I'm just going to try and take these mushrooms out of here without carrying over much of the liquid. And I didn't cook these veggies too done for a couple of reasons. Number one, when we put it in that skillet sauce with the chicken, it has to cook in that sauce for a little while. And number two, we reheat this. This isn't something that we're eating right away. It goes in meal prep containers and gets reheated when we're ready to eat it. We eat this over cauliflower rice or inside of one of those ole wraps, like a real chicken fajita would be. Add some of the Velveeta shreds on it, the Mexican blend, and some low-fat sour cream or Greek yogurt, whichever you prefer. And they are delicious. All right, so I'm all done with this. I'm going to turn that eye off. And check my frittatas. They're just about ready to come out. So I'm going to put this little cooling rack right over here. We're going to need it for the bread anyway when the bread comes out. And I'm looking for my dishcloth. There it is. Just to kind of get around the eye and wipe up some of this mess. Because we're now going to have to get the chicken cooked. And then once the chicken's cooked, I'll have to do it in batches and get it into here. And once that is cooked, we can get the sauce going in a bigger skillet and dump all of this in, and then it'll be completely done. All right, let me get a pot holder or two. And let's get these frittatas out. Oh my goodness. Pretty much done. I'm gonna let them go actually a few more minutes. So I will catch you guys back up here in just a minute. I'm going to keep cleaning up some of my mess. Okay, it's been a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and take the frittatas out and get them on the cooling rack. There's some spillage over, which I knew before I put them in because the cups had run over. But when they start to puff like this on the sides and the tops are starting to brown, they're typically done. I'm going to get them over on this cooling rack and let them set. And they can cool. Ooh, fell in a hole. Alright, they can set here. I've got 10 more minutes left until my bread is ready to go into the oven. So I'm going to do a little more tidying up and then we'll get that butter on top of that dough and get it in the oven. I do need to change the temperature of the oven down to 350 and let it start decreasing so we don't burn our bread. And I'll see you guys back here in about 9 minutes. Okay, the timer went off. It is time to put some butter on this baby and get it in the oven. This is just melted butter. Remember, it's really important that when you're basting raw dough like this before it goes in the oven, you don't want to put any pressure on it because you can cause the dough to fall. So we're just going to put a little coating on it here. Get it nice and ready for the oven. He did decide to do one loaf of bread this week for sandwiches instead of doing a small loaf and some buns because A, we're not prepping hamburgers this week, and B, he thinks that the other bread is too small for a sandwich. So this bread is for this week. I'm going to leave this back here for when it comes out of the oven, and this is going to go in. I've got to lower the rack because it has to go in the lowest possible station in the oven, so let me move that. And it's going to go in for 25 minutes. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this skillet, put some oil in it, and get it nice and hot, and get some chicken cooking. Woo. I am going to put a little bit of black pepper on the chicken. That's about all I'm going to put on it. I'm going to get the rest of this cut up so that we have one skillet, and then the rest of the chicken breasts I'll cut up while that first batch is cooking. We'll get that done. I'll be putting the chicken over here in batches as it cooks, and then I will show you guys what we're going to do with our wok skillet and our Frittatas sauce and all of this here in just a minute.
It's way too easy to say stuff I never do. You know it's not how I feel, baby. So can we let this slide? Can't stand to see you cry. Come a little closer, there's something I have to say. I love you and I hate you and I hope you feel the same. Come a little closer, baby, please don't walk away. I love you and yeah. You got nothing to prove, oh baby, I know you'll do right by me, I'll do right.
So at some point my battery died, and that's okay. I'm gonna get my wok skillet over here. Look guys, another casualty of war from my meal prep. I've told you guys before, these are my absolute favorite measuring cups in the world. I will probably try and replace the entire set just because I broke the half cup. But again, I get them at Walmart. They're Pioneer Woman. They're super cheap to replace, but they are my absolute favorite set. So this got dropped coming out of the dishwasher. I'm kind of sad about it, but it's okay. Let's move on. For our skillet sauce, because we doubled this recipe, we're going to put 2 of the Frittatas Classic Fajita skillet sauces with chipotle lime in there. And if you see on here, it just tells you to pour it in and bring it to a boil. So we're going to go ahead and turn the heat on and put both of these packets. I cannot tell you how many times I have opened these packets and just made a mess, like spilled them everywhere. And again, that's okay too. Let's see, bring it to a boil, add everything, stir until it is cooked through, and that's usually 2 to 3 minutes. So what I like to do is cook it a little bit longer than that, just to reduce the amount of sauce that's in there by a little. And as you can see, it's already starting to bubble. Well, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I didn't even get the second packet in there before it started to bubble up on me. I'm gonna grab a clean utensil because the stuff that I use to cook this with, I don't wanna cook here. So let me grab a wooden spoon. It will only take a minute for this to start to bubble up. We're gonna dump literally everything that's in this pan. It's all kids in the pool, y'all. All kids will go in the pool. We'll get it nice and coated with this yumminess, and then that is it. This is the last dish that I am going to be preparing and making for meal prep for this week. My oatmeal I'll get into mason jars probably about the same time that I get my meat sauce into containers, sometime around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. Right now I'm going to finish this up, get it into containers, and start cleaning up my mess, and then I'm gonna go grab a shower and have some supper with my family and enjoy a little bit of family time because it's Saturday night. I did take about, I don't know, a 2-hour break in between, and it is a lot of work, you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Meal prep and planning is a ton of work, but all total, when all is said and done, I have about 4.5, close to 5 hours in preparation into all of the stuff that gets us through the entire week. And for me, that's a no-brainer. Tomorrow I will get to spend cleaning my house. I'll probably share a little bit of that with you guys. Next weekend is baseball, so none of this is gonna happen. I may do 1 or 2 meal prep things, and I may not. I may save it and try and take it in little bites in the following week after that. and it's all about doing what fits for your family. All right, we are at a really good boil. So I'm gonna start putting this stuff in here, and again, away from your body so that you don't splash it all over yourself. This is one of those things that I don't get sick of, and I typically get sick of having the same foods over and over. I don't get sick of this. It is so good, and you can turn it into nachos, you can turn it into fajitas, you can eat it over cauliflower rice or over regular rice. I just don't get tired of it. It's a very loud entry into the sink there. So just very carefully, because it is a double batch, I just want to get it just around, mix and match, like Sir Mix-a-Lot. Baby got back, burn out, down, out, down. Yes, I'm a child of the 80s. For those of you that didn't know, I was born in 1974. I am a child of the 80s. I graduated high school in 1992. Yes, I had big hair. Yes, we listened to the best music that has ever been created. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am slowly turning into my mother, and I am loving it because she is amazing. So, that being said, we're gonna let this cook for 2 to 3 minutes. It's gonna be done. We're gonna stick it in meal prep containers, and that's it. I'm going to wrap up for today. I'm gonna clean up what little bit of mess is left, and I'm gonna go get my shower and spend some time with the fam, and we'll pick up tomorrow with some cleaning, and that's it. I've got laundry and all of that to do, and I'm not even worried about it. It feels so good to be back on track with my meal prep and my meal planning, because I promise you that is the only hope I have of staying on track with my Weight Watchers and my journey to getting healthier and being a healthier version of myself, so that in a couple years when I turn 50, I don't feel 50, and I certainly won't look 50. I want to be healthy and be around for my kids and my grandkids, which are way down the road. Boys, if you're watching this, we're talking so far down the road. I just want to be around. I want to be that mom that just lives on and on. So I'm going to let this cook. We're going to get it in containers, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow when it's time to do some cleaning.
We got this. There's something I have to say. I love you and I hate you, and I hope you feel the same.